Hi, everybody. Back with the Liberty Moving podcast. Still haven't found those damn sunglasses. Don't need them today, though, except to hide my crow's feet. So, we're going to talk about Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I've been a little busy, family in town, holidays, and so on. So I actually haven't done it. I was on a roll there because there's so much happening. We try to catch up today. So I'm going to talk about that libertarian, fork in the road I've talked about. And this is going to be a theme for the next several months, basically giving updates on what's going on. So libertarian movement, liberty movement, we have two forks in the road. One is the opening to Trump. I support this, and I'm involved in it, really. I've, just for sake of full disclosure, I have put my name in to be a consultant to Doge, which is Musk and Ramaswamy. I put feelers out to be in that group. It's an unpaid position. I refuse to work for the government. This is a matter of, to put that on the record. So I support all that. The other fork in the road is my project to convince the Libertarian Party to adopt direct citizen action as its main strategy. Its main strategy for 50 years has been electoral politics. That's clearly failed. I've explained why that is doomed to fail in many, many books and in many, many podcasts. And I had penciled in 1% for the Libertarian Party on election night in my memo, my open letter. I actually had to adjust that downward to 0.4, so it's the worst performance ever. Now, that may be attributable to libertarians voting for Trump. But still, even if there wasn't a motive to vote for Trump this year, let's say they would have gotten 1%, still, even 1% is a failure. So with that asterisk, 0.4% is certainly a failure with an asterisk, but the asterisk doesn't affect the logic of the situation, which is that after 50 years, you're stuck at 1%. So what do? You go out of business, you join the Republican Party. We've already done that, by the way. By the way, this is my first podcast in winter conditions, and I'm freaking freezing, and I got to figure out how to put my glove on, so it's going to be a little rough. I'm going to continue the podcast during the winter because one of the reasons I'm doing this, the podcast is really an accident of me deciding to walk every day, 10,000 steps. I try. I don't always get it, but I usually get 7,500. The podcast is really an offshoot of walking because I'm out here walking anyway, and I figured I might as well shoot my mouth off. And it's become really almost become an institution, and I feel, not to brag because, everybody knows I never brag, but I've gotten pretty good at it. It's like my frittata in the morning. I make a frittata every day for 2 years. You get pretty good at it. Even my wife likes it. So I think the podcast, I've gotten pretty good at the format. It's funny because I used to go out and just bloviate, and now I feel like I got a little pressure because I feel like I've reached a certain standard of quality with the podcast, and so there's a little bit of pressure. I try to keep that level of quality up. I think really, if you have followed the trend, the programs are actually getting a little better, a little bit more informative, entertaining, whatever. They flow better. So I'm going to keep this going unless there's like a blizzard. In fact, I went out in the blizzard 2 years ago and did some reporting. So I've got the equipment and everything. But so back to what we're talking about, this libertarian fork in the road. We need to take, it's Yogi Berra, when you have a fork in the road, you take it. So I want to take both. So I don't want people who are against Trump to say, gee, Jim, why are you, thrown in with Trump and not pursuing other alternatives? I am. And I don't want people to who are in favor of, I got to cross Kenmore Avenue here. It's a little loud at the moment. I don't want people who are in favor of direct action to say, what are you messing around with Trump for? Because when you've been losing since the dawn of the progressive era in 1913, we have been getting our asses kicked for like 110 years. You don't preclude any strategy. And strategy is not a matter of principle. Strategy is a matter of pragmatism. So working with Trump, who's reached out to libertarians, there's nothing unprincipled about it. Anybody who thinks that's the case is full of shit. And I'll argue with that on another occasion. So, but I'm going to do something different. Yesterday I was just talking to the family. I said, for the first time since I was a teenager, I feel like things are actually moving in a positive direction. And I'm a declinist. I was going to write the only book I never wrote that I was going to write. The Decline of America and Why We Can't Stop It, 1990. Now, I've recycled a lot of that material, but my point is I've been a declinist since like 1990. I'm a historian of decline. I'm an analyst of decline. And even I feel like, gosh, things might actually turn around. Since the stagflation of the 70s when I was in high school. And the first Buffalo area went down, but the Buffalo disease went national, really, particularly under Bush, Obama, Biden. It's been, several horrible presidents in a row, and then Trump was an improvement, but his first term wasn't all that great. Let's be honest. Hopefully, the second term is better. So, but today I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to argue against myself from yesterday. I'm going to give you the black pill on the opening to Trump, to encourage people to support the direct action project. And that's what this podcast is going to be about today. So let me give you the black pill. So there's a lot of positive things, a lot of interesting ideas. And frankly, the Elon Musk Ramaswamy Doge concept is relatively new. I mean, Trump didn't talk about this stuff at all. So things are evolving in a very positive direction, and there's a lot of good ideas being tossed out. But again, let me give you the black pill. So one of the unfortunate things is that the Biden administration was so bad that it's almost metaphysically impossible for Trump not to be an improvement. So Trump's going to be an improvement, but I'm sorry, we have to shoot way higher than that. These moments don't come around very often. The MAGA controls the White House. Unfortunately, the Republican Party controls the House and the Senate. But the Republican Party, and if you follow my podcast, the Republican Party is a separate party from MAGA and is extremely hostile to MAGA. Extremely hostile. There's 3 political parties in the country. If you don't understand this, you're lost. You're clueless. There's 3 political parties in the country, major ones. The Democrats, we all know them. The Republicans, this ridiculous fraud that's existed since 1913. It hasn't repealed a single progressive program. And then there's MAGA. But the Republicans, the GOP machine, the Bush Republicans, the Karl Rove Republicans, they have to pretend to play ball for a while. But still, it's going to be very tough for MAGA to do anything major. But let's say they do a few things, and academia is still run by left progressives. The country is still progressive in the sense that the country has not been deprogrammed from the ideology that has dominated the country since 1913, which is progressivism. The belief that the government's going to solve any particular problem that comes along. So anything that moves in the direction of liberty, any slight changes, will be interpreted by the media and by academia. Oh, liberty failed again. Capitalism failed again. We haven't had capitalism since the 19th century. We haven't had laissez-faire capitalism since the 19th century. By the way, it worked magnificently. And all the historians who say to the contrary are liars. But any small moves towards liberty are going to be interpreted as failures. But the whole so MAGA controls the White House. Government's natural tendency is to grow local, state, county, federal minus MAGA, in other words, the House, the Congress. All that, the government's still going to be growing, except the part that's controlled by Doge and Trump cutting a few things here and there. And so really, at the end of the day, we saw this during the Reagan administration. Government's going to continue to get bigger. So let's look at, and they're not even proposing, the only big thing they're proposing is the Department of Education. I got to get my warm gloves next time. This is an experiment in winter broadcasting because I haven't done it in a year. The only thing they're really proposing that's big is getting rid of the Department of Education. The odds of them getting rid of the Department of Education, however, are extremely low because you have three useless big government Republicans blocking it. And I'm guessing that they'll block it. I don't know for sure. McConnell and the two women. I mean, the two women are basically Democrats. And McConnell is basically a Democrat. So the odds of them actually getting rid of the Department of Education are extremely small. And then when you look at the actual budget, even if they got rid of it, they talk about, Trump literally said, we're going to move it to the states. It's like, what? Move it to the states. It's like, that's like, you know, I got lung cancer. You're going to move it to my pancreas. It's like, what the fuck? Why would you take a completely useless department that we didn't need in the first place, and which has accomplished no net good since Jimmy Carter was president when I was a teenager and in college, and move it anywhere? Just get rid of the fucking thing. So they haven't even proposed to get rid of it. So when you slice and dice the budget of the Department of Education, what you find is it's not bureaucrats. That you're being conned to a certain extent, and I shouldn't say conned. When you get these private sector business types like Musk and Ramaswamy, they think they can import their sort of pragmatic trial and error approach. If this doesn't work, do something else. Because that's how the market works. You're operating in a context of, it's a different context. For one, you have a price system. So you try something, you know, maybe Tesla, you know, tries a truck or something. And then there's a market test. Prices, profits, losses, the price system. There's a test because people don't have to deal with you. It's a voluntary context. So what these business pragmatists do in the market makes sense. And they try to transfer that ideology over, that tinkering, try something new, trial and error into the government. It really doesn't work because you don't have market feedback and you got a lot of pushback from special interests. So without a wholesale sort of ideological reprogramming of the population and frankly re-educating Musk as to the fact that what he's trying to do is just make government more efficient, you can't do it and you don't even want to do it because it's stupid. The odds of those guys really succeeding at any major wholesale change is extremely, extremely low. So let's drill down on that further by looking at a pie chart of, and you're going to have to imagine this because I tried to print it off, I couldn't print it. If you look, I looked at a pie chart of the federal budget. So 1/7 of the budget is, quote, discretionary. The rest of it is, quote, mostly mandatory. Now, these are bullshit terms. They're political terms, and therefore they're inherently dishonest. And in fact, you know, socialism security is considered to be a mandatory program. Well, that's just a lie. It's not a mandatory program. It's just that in order to get rid of it, you would have to have a majority vote of both houses, and then the president would have to sign off, as opposed to discretionary spending, which, because the House has to originate all spending bills, all you need to get rid of a discretionary program is a tie vote in either house, and you get rid of it. Social Security could be eliminated by a majority vote in both houses. It's mandatory. That's bullshit. Again, politics is a bunch of lies. If you want to see how politicians lie, read my book, Libertarian Devil's Dictionary. So, but let's forgetting those technicalities, let's talk about the pie chart. Only 1/7 of the federal budget is quote discretionary, and Musk and Ramaswamy, until they get me as a consultant, are not proposing anything that's even going to cut into that. All this bullshit. First of all, I already did a podcast. When you hear the term waste, fraud, and abuse, you're being conned. You might not be being conned on purpose, because I don't think those guys understand that it's a con yet. But the Republican Party's been using this phrase since the 70s. Has the budget ever declined? No, it's a fraud. You're not going to cut the budget in any significant way by attacking studies on the sex lives of frogs. If you get triggered by that, you're being conned. You're being conned. It's like when you go to a magician's performance and you're looking at the woman in the bathing suit. You're getting conned. He's distracting you from how he's doing the magic trick. So that's really all bullshit. Now, if J.O. was in charge, could I get rid of a significant portion of that discretionary spending? Oh, you're damn right I could. I know where all the money is. I'd get rid of HUD, for example. I'd get rid of commerce. I'd get rid of agriculture. I'd get rid of education. I'd get rid of energy. And that would cut in significantly. But what are the odds of any of that happening? Very small, because again, MAGA controls the White House. The corrupt GOP machine controls the Congress. The Democrats have a say. There's a 60-vote rule. The Democrats in the Senate can hold up a lot of stuff. So the bottom line is, now let me drill down a little bit, and then we'll talk about the direct action, and we'll wrap this thing up. Get my coffee at Dashes by Local for Liberty. You think, gee, Jim, are you getting paid by Dashes? No, I got SAP written on my forehead. I just give them free advertising. Actually, I love the place. I really do. I really sincerely. I don't go to chain restaurants except in an emergency. So I really believe that. It's really a form of direct action. But look at the Department of Education. And again, this focus on, the federal workers haven't shown up and they show up once a month. You're being fucking conned. Stop it. Get smarter than that. That's stupid. The federal budget is not government workers. It's transfer payments. It's fucking transfer payments. Sorry for the language. It's not Sunday, I can swear. It's fucking transfer payments. It's the goddamn military offense budget. There's no defense budget. We haven't been invaded since the fucking Redcoats in 1812. How are you going to invade a country where 150 million people have assault rifles? I'm just throwing that number out there. So, and by the way, Trump's foreign policy picks are almost all neocons. And, if he's gonna continue an Israel first foreign policy, forget the it's a great thing about the podcast. You never know what the fuck I'm gonna say. Forget the foreign aid, which, by the way, foreign aid to Israel is always understated, because we also have to bribe Egypt to like Israel, and we have to bribe other countries to pretend to like Israel. But it's not that. It's the goddamn foreign wars we've gotten into for the sake of Israel. Why? Doesn't make any fucking sense. Do you know how many, forget the thousands of Americans dead at Arlington. Just trillions of dollars that have fucked our economy. So, again, I'm blackpilling in spite of my hopes and optimism, and I really hope it does work. You got to have a black pill on this notion that after 214 years of government growing, it's suddenly going to change. I hope it does. It could. It's not metaphysically impossible for that to change. I'm just giving you the black pill. And the point is, don't give up on the other fork in the road, which is direct action, which I'm going to talk about right now. But doubling back before I went on that rant about foreign policy and the neocons, if you look at the Department of Education's budget, which is about $250 billion, I'm not going to quibble about numbers. I I haven't looked. I could do numbers all day long, but just approximately ballpark figure. It's about $250 billion. $200 billion of that is just transfer payments. It's just transfer payments. It's not paying, how many people work for the Department of Education? Is it 15,000? Is it 20,000? I don't care. It's a drop in the fucking bucket. So when they talk about waste, fraud, and abuse, they're conning you. When they talk about, we're going to stop studying the sex lives of frogs, you're being fucking conned, just like you've been conned for 50 fucking years by the Republican Party. You're talking about government workers only showing up. Do you really want these bastards to be working? I don't. You really want the IRS workers to be working harder, stealing your money? I don't. That's bullshit. It's transfer payments, folks. It's transfer payments and a neocon foreign policy that has us constantly fighting wars, even though the United States cannot be invaded by a foreign army and hasn't been invaded by a foreign army since 1812. You're being conned, folks. So that's the black pill. Got a couple minutes left in the park here. Ways to pretend to coach baseball. Basketball is my real sport, my true love. I love that sport, our greatest sport. I'm reaching out to the libertarians. There's the other fork in the road, and you can help here. You think, well, what am I supposed to do? I'm not even in the Libertarian Party. So I have contacted all 52. I got to get a new selfie stick because I cannot stand when it's not balanced properly. I've contacted all 52. Somebody want to buy me one for Christmas? I'll tell you, it's probably about $500 to get a better one. I've contacted all 52 libertarian organizations, by which I mean national, and all 50 states and DC. So there's 52. I've contacted all of them. I'm actually redundantly contacting them because, I don't want to be hard on them. They're volunteer organizations, and maybe somebody missed the one email, whatever. I'm hitting them multiple times. I'm actually speaking to the New York State Libertarian Party State Committee on December 15th. I'm going to pitch them on this project. So I have a bunch of direct action projects, which I've written about over the years. They're on my website, which I literally want the LP to jump on in and start working with me to execute these projects. And I'll give you a list, and then I'll talk about one or two details, because I'm dead serious about this. And this is the other fork in the road, and you say, well, I'm not on the executive board. I have no power. Well, if you're in the LP, you have a voice. Send them an email and say, hey, let's get Ostrowski in and hear him out anyway. So far, one of the 52 organizations have responded, and I'll be pitching that to the NYLP. So, but even if you're not a member of the Libertarian Party and you want to get involved in this project, I've been pitching these ideas for 10 years, and the odds of I don't go to billionaires, and I don't ask rich people for money, because I've done that. I did that when I was a kid. I wasted 8 years of my life, and then when a billionaire withdrew funding, I was screwed. So I'm not doing that anymore. So if you're interested in direct action ideas for liberty, you could join the Libertarian Party right now, tomorrow, pay whatever, $20, $15, and say, look, I just joined. Ostrowski got me to join your party, and I want to push this direct action idea. And so I'm trying to grow the libertarian movement. People say, anybody who says, oh, gee, Jim's trying to sabotage the libertarian, that's bullshit. I was in the Libertarian Party before most of the people in the party were even born. I want to grow the party. If I could get non-members who support this idea to sign up. Let's have another million libertarians, and let's do something that's going to work. Direct action. So what is direct action? Voting with your feet, voting with your children, keep them out of government schools, voting with your health, walking 7,500 steps a day. I'm writing a book called Voting with Your Health. Do you think I have more ideas than walking 7,500 steps a day? I got a million of them. We need to, I have a project I don't want to talk about publicly because it's almost trade secret, but we need to, and we have an educational project to inform people of what what the money in their paycheck is really going for. It's like, it's such a great idea. All it would take is a couple grand, hire a couple of accountants and do it and put an app out there. So this would be something that would, education is a form of direct action. It would educate people as to how much money is being stolen from them because they really do not know. I only have a couple minutes. Let me drill down and give you one concrete example. Because this isn't just Whistle and Dixie, this isn't just theory. We've got, educating people on grand juries. We have the program all ready to roll out. We just need an organization with a presence in 3,000 counties, which the Libertarian Party does, to execute it. The project's ready to roll out. The Libertarian Party and I need each other. I've got the concrete, specific ideas ready to roll out. The Libertarian Party, they have a couple of bucks to do it. None of these ideas are expensive. They have the staff. They have volunteers. They have a talent base. Give you one quick idea, and I'm going to shut up and go get a cup of coffee because I'm getting cold. I started a project with limited resources. Me and my son did it. We ranked the 100 freest counties in the United States. Nobody knows this. Because again, without a staff, without a budget, I don't have the marketing wherewithal, the PR talent that the LP has. We ranked the 100 freest counties in the country. It's on my website that nobody ever looks at. But that could change if the LP gets on board with these ideas. Because they're not going anywhere with this election stuff, let's be honest. And I'm not saying give up on elections. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. Imagine if the LP, and I'm going to pitch this to New York, and I'm going to ask him for X amount of dollars to do it. I'm not fucking around here. I'm not whistling Dixie. I want this done. I have the formula to rank 3,000 counties in the United States by the degree of freedom and publicize this and get people moving to these counties. And for the big government states that people don't necessarily can't move for the moment or just don't want to move or never want to move, I got another project for those states, which I haven't even. We could do this very easily. Let's say you have to live in New York or whatever, you want to live in New York, but don't you want to live in the freest town in New York? Why don't we have that done in an app? And this app, we'd have to figure out the legalities. We'll get lawyers involved and all that stuff because there's so many. The purpose of the election law is to make life difficult for reformers and dissidents. Wouldn't it be nice to know what is the freest space when you factor in all the overlapping taxing districts? What is the freest spot in New York State? I'd love to know. I don't even know. I'm supposed to know this stuff. I don't know. So we'll have an app for that. We're going to have an app for that. So lots of specific, concrete ideas that can be rolled out. We're going to take both forks in the road. We're going to work with Trump and Musk and Ramaswamy. Ask those people to get me on their staff because I'm the most experienced policy wonk in the libertarian movement. I think that's just a fact. I've been doing this since 1982. Anybody been doing it longer? I don't think so. Maybe there might be 5 people. Let's get all 5. But let's take that fork in the road. But let's take the direct action fork in the road. Contact the LP if you're a member. If you're not, join the LP and say, hey, let's do this Ostrowski thing. Let's do something that works. Let's take both forks in the road because the odds are, I wish Trump the best in shrinking the government. The odds are it's not going to happen. We don't know. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm saying the odds are, no election since 1800 has shrunk the government. This could be the one. It could be. The odds are it's probably not going to be. And then there'll be another cycle where some Democrat will become president in 4 years and reverse everything, just like Biden reversed everything Trump did on the border. So we can walk and chew gum at the same time. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Direct action ultimately is the only way to do it. The opening to Trump is a useful short-term strategy. The only long-term strategy is direct action, including economics in 5 lessons. It's a 1-hour program. Why aren't we doing this, folks? Because I'm just one guy. I can't fucking clone myself. With the support of the LP doesn't have enough resources to compete in a national election. But you know what? They got 10 times the resources they need to take these direct action programs that I have developed over 13 years and put them into effect very soon, like next fucking month. So, with that, sorry for the language. Have a great holiday weekend. Go Bills. And you see how excited I am about this. You can't fake this, okay? This is real. It's called authenticity.